Now, some people tell you that you must retire debt-free. Others will say it's smarter to keep your money invested and not rush to pay off your mortgage. Now, the truth, neither rule works for everyone. So in this video today, we're going to dig into the real trade-offs. We're going to talk about when it makes sense to pay off your mortgage before retirement, when it doesn't, and why the emotional side of this decision matters just as much as the math. Because the right answer isn't about following a rule. It's about finding the path that gives you both financial confidence and peace of mind. Let's start with what many of us were taught. Always retire debt-free. And you know what? The advice still holds a lot of weight. Retiring without a mortgage means that your fixed monthly costs are lower, your retirement stretches further, and you've just removed one of the biggest financial obligations from your life. Now, there's also the psychological relief that comes with it. Now, I've had clients describe the day that they paid their last mortgage payment as one of the happiest days of their financial lives, because for them, being mortgage-free wasn't just about the money, it was about freedom. And from a planning perspective, it's easy to see the appeal, right? If you have CPP, OES, maybe you've got a small pension and you got a little bit of savings, well, the fact that you don't have to pay $1,500 or $2,000 for a mortgage payment every month makes everything feel a lot more manageable. So yes, paying off your mortgage before retirement can make a lot of sense, but it's not the only way forward. So here's the reality for a lot of Canadians today. Housing prices have climbed dramatically over these last 2 decades. Mortgages are larger, amortizations stretch longer, and with the rise of interest rates over the last couple of years, carrying debt in retirement is no longer unusual. In fact, according to Stats Canada, nearly half of Canadian households between the ages of 55 and 64 still have some kind of mortgage debt. And even those that are over the age of 65, a lot of them are still carrying balances. So if you're approaching retirement and you still owe money on your home, know that you're not alone here. But here's the key. Not all mortgages are created equal. There's a big difference between entering retirement with $50,000 left on a mortgage at 2.5% versus a $400,000 mortgage left at 6%. So the first scenario may be manageable. The second may cause significant stress. So when you hear a blanket statement like you should always retire mortgage-free or keep the debt and invest, remember this. It's not about the rule. It's about the numbers, your plan, and your comfort level. So let's dig into the math here, because every dollar you use to pay down your mortgage is a dollar that's no longer available for investing, emergencies, or lifestyle spending. So the decision often comes down to this. Are you better off paying your mortgage or keeping that money invested? Here's an example. Let's say you have $200,000 in a non-registered account and a mortgage at 5.5%. If you use that $200,000 to pay down the mortgage, you've effectively earned a guaranteed 5.5% return because you've eliminated the interest that you otherwise pay. Now, that's a risk-free return. And in today's environment, that's pretty attractive. But if your mortgage is at 2.5% and your investments have historically returned, say, 6% or more, well, in that case, keeping the money invested could, over time, leave you further ahead. Now, the problem is that investments aren't guaranteed. Mortgage payments are. And that's where the decision gets a little bit tricky. Then there's the tax impact. Because if you raid your RSP to pay off your mortgage, that withdrawal is fully taxable. And you could also wipe out your mortgage, sure, but it's also going to push you into a much higher tax bracket and also possibly shrink your retirement savings at the same time. Now, I've seen retirees regret cashing out big chunks of RSP money just to kill the mortgage. They ended up with less liquidity, less flexibility, and a smaller nest egg. Now, on the other hand, if you've got money sitting in a TFSA or a non-registered account earning very little, paying down the mortgage could be a great idea for those funds. So financially, the trade-off isn't about following a rule. It's about interest rates, expected returns, tax consequences, and how much flexibility you want to be able to keep. Now let's talk about something that spreadsheets generally don't capture, and that's the emotional side. Now, some people simply cannot stand the idea of carrying debt into retirement, even if the math says it might make a lot of sense. They won't sleep well until the mortgage is gone. And you know what? That's valid. Peace of mind is worth something, right? And other people feel the opposite. They'd rather carry a low interest mortgage and keep cash flow and cash liquid in case of emergencies. Because for them, the idea of tying up all this money in their house feels more stressful than those monthly payments. Now, neither perspective is wrong. This is where money and psychology really intersect. If being debt-free helps you enjoy retirement more, it might be the right choice, even if the math isn't perfect. If flexibility and liquidity matter more, well, carrying and managing a mortgage could be fine as well. Because at the end of the day, retirement is about confidence and peace of mind. Numbers matter, but feelings matter too. So how do you decide? Well, here's the framework I use with a lot of my clients. 3 simple questions. Question 1, can your retirement cash flow handle the payments? If your retirement income plan, which includes CPP, OAS, pensions, withdrawals, covers the mortgage comfortably without sacrificing your lifestyle, well, carrying a mortgage might be okay. Question 2, what's the interest rate compared to expected returns? So if your mortgage is higher than what your investments are earning, paying it off might make a lot of sense. If your investments are earning significantly more, well, keeping the mortgage may be a smarter move. Question 3, how much peace of mind do you need? Now, if debt keeps you up at night, no spreadsheet in the world is going to make you feel comfortable. Sometimes paying off the mortgage is really the best financial decision simply because it helps you enjoy life more. So if you can answer these 3 questions honestly, you're going to usually find out which side of the fence you're going to fall on. Now, let me share a few examples here. Now, one couple I worked with, they had $90,000 left on their mortgage. They had a healthy pension, CPP, OAS, and a good-sized RSP. Now, through our conversation, we decided to pay off the mortgage using their non-registered savings. And the relief they felt was immediate. They told me later that they felt like this weight had been lifted off of their shoulders. Now, I had another client who had about $250,000 left, but they had a very low interest rate. Now, we ran the numbers and decided to keep the mortgage because their portfolio was earning more than the interest cost. Now, 10 years later, that decision left them significantly better off financially. And then I have another client who came to me, unfortunately, after they had already pulled out $300,000 from their RSP in a single year to eliminate that mortgage. Well, the tax bill on that was massive. They ended up with OAS clawback as part of it, and they ended up regretting it. Not because they didn't, or they weren't just debt-free anymore, but because the cost of this overall plan was way higher than they actually realized. Now, the point here, different situations produce different outcomes. And that's why this isn't a one-size-fits-all decision. And remember, paying it off or not isn't the only choice. Some retirees decide to downsize and use the proceeds to eliminate the mortgage. Others make partial lump sum payments, knocking the balance down without draining all their savings. Now, you could refinance, you could restructure your amortization, or you could keep a small HELOC as a safety net, all while reducing the main mortgage. Now, the point is, there's flexibility. It's not a all or nothing decision. And sometimes the best path is in the middle. Reduce the debt to a manageable level, keep some cash liquid, and let the rest play out. So, should you pay off your mortgage before retirement? The truth is, it depends. It depends on your numbers, the size of your mortgage, the interest rate, your income plan. It depends on your strategy, whether you're better off investing or eliminating debt. And it depends on your psychology, whether you value peace of mind or flexibility more. There's no single right answer. The right decision is the one that gives you confidence, security, and the freedom to live your retirement the way you want. If you're weighing this decision, don't just look at the math. Look at how it affects your lifestyle and peace of mind. And if you want to go deeper into building a retirement plan that works for you with or without a mortgage, you can always visit me at stonecitywealth.com. I'm Adam. We'll see you in the next video.